Thank you. Okay. Gather around. It's obviously a very tough day here in Borough Park. It is Shabbos. It is the Sabbath day in Borough Park. This is a community I know well, and I represented in the city council. So I know it was a real shock to the residents of this community to hear this explosion. And I want everyone in the community to know that the FDNY and NYPD have responded very, very effectively in this situation. I want to thank Commissioner Nigro and Chief Leonard for their efforts and the efforts of all the men and women of the FDNY in responding. Let me give you a couple of the updates before you hear from the Commissioner and the Chief. This is a tragedy because we've lost one person. The identity of the individual has still not been confirmed, but we have lost one person in this explosion. We have three civilian injuries. The civilians are in the hospital, at Methodist Hospital. One is in critical care, but not life-threatening from what we know now. We have 5 firefighters with minor injuries who were given medical care here on the scene and did not require hospitalization, thank God. So this is a very tough situation, but the response from the FDNY and the other first responders has been extraordinary. Over 200 firefighters have participated in arresting this situation, ensuring that the fire did not spread. The fire is under control. It's still smoldering, but it is under control. And in the coming hours, FDNY will be able to put the fire out and then begin the investigation of the site and begin the effort to get a fuller idea of what happened here exactly. We're going to emphasize that the information we have is preliminary, because until the fire is entirely out and the fire marshals and other personnel can get in to examine the site, we won't have final answers. But we do know that obviously you've seen the physical scene there. One building with extreme damage, another building that suffered heavy damage, some others around it that suffered smoke damage. After the FDNY arrived, and I understand the response time was about 3 minutes, which is extraordinary, they were able to get people from all the surrounding buildings out, except for tragically, the one casualty. But a very, very fast response time. We will be doing, again, a full investigation. Some of the other key players here, Department of Buildings, Commissioner Rick Chandler, OEM Commissioner Joe Esposito, all relevant agencies will be involved in the investigation. I also want to thank Borough President Eric Adams and Councilmember Brad Lander for being here to support the community and to work with all of us on this situation. Let me turn now to Commissioner Nigro to give you some further updates.
Well, the mayor stated at 1:05, we received an alarm for an explosion. The entire front of this building, 1406, was blown out into the street. We believe that, and again, as he stated, everything is preliminary. We have not yet been in that building because of the severe structural damage. We believe it originated on the second floor. We have some indication that there was a stove exchange with a tenant, so that's what we believe was involved. Again, all preliminary. We will not do a complete investigation until later tonight we'll start. So that's where we believe it occurred. The person that is deceased is in the original building. That's where it occurred, in the stairwell. They were found in the stairwell of that building. There were no other people in the building that we know of, although we did not complete a search in that building, 1406. So we won't know until that's completed. But we don't have a report of missing person. There's one person that we're still trying to confirm the whereabouts of. And that's the situation as it stands right now. The fire will be smoldering for some time until later this evening. And when we complete that, we'll move forward with the investigation.
Okay. Yes.
Can you explain what a stove exchange is?
We are told that the tenant there purchased a high-end stove. It was their own stove. They were moving out of the apartment and were going to take that stove with them. So, of course, to take a stove with you, it entails disconnecting a gas line, which leads us preliminarily to look in that direction for the cause of this explosion.
Who disconnected the gas line?
That we don't know anything about that yet.
In other words, they were moving out of the second floor. The woman who was dead is on the third floor. Is that correct?
The woman is in the stairwell somewhere between this in the second floor area. The apartment where the stove was being moved was in the second floor.
There's three people.
Louder, please.
3 people in the hospital and 1 year.
There's one person who we still have not found. We don't know if they were involved, were they here today or not. The police department is trying to locate that person. They were a resident of the building, yes.
But that, again, that individual may have been someplace entirely different. So we're just trying to confirm their whereabouts.
Can you give ages, genders, at least?
The folks that were heard in the street was a father and son, ages 33 and 10, and a 27-year-old young man.
Who's the one with the leg?
So,
Not the 10-year-old, one of the older men.
right, and just to clarify, just hold on one second. I just want you to clarify that they were walking by.
Those 3 persons were walking by. The debris was thrown out across the street, and they were injured with flying debris from the explosion. Well, bricks and everything else that came out of the building.
Were they on the opposite side of the street or the same side?
I don't know. That I don't know.
I think same size as what we saw.
Excuse me?
How many people were inside the building when the
As-
explosion happened?
As far as we've confirmed, 1.
And she was in the stairwell?
She was in the stairwell.
And is she still there?
She is still there.
Can we let's wait clarification on the previous chief, just explain
There
about
was
the location
there was
of the
one of the windows did blow out across the street, but the people that were injured in the street were on the sidewalk in front of the building,
on the same side as the
on the
building.
same side of the street right in front of the building. But debris did get blown across the street.
That was 3 people on the street?
That's correct.
Okay, a mother, a son, 33, age 10.
No,
Let's clarify.
2 men, ages 33 and 27, and a 10-year-old boy who was the son of one of those men.
So there's,
The woman who died is in her 60s, is that correct?
again, we're still waiting on confirmation.
We have no confirmation.
Again, she lived on the third floor. Is that correct?
We don't have confirmation on that yet, on her, who she is.
So let me just make
Let
this
me get
point.
it.
First of all, I want to thank our public advocate, Tish James, for joining us in support of the community. Again, until FDNY can get into the building to confirm the identity of the deceased individual, we don't want to speculate. But first, they have to finish the last remnants of the fire. As you can see, the fire is under control. It's not spreading. It's still smoldering. They have to finish that. They have to deal with the fact that it's a structurally unsound situation before people can go in. Then they'll be able to identify the individual and go on with the investigation. That will happen later on as we get into the evening.
So is it possible that building could collapse?
I'll let you guys and
Yes.
Rick want to,
Absolutely,
Yes,
yes.
and we have our buildings commissioner too. Do you want to add?
No.
Okay.
Will the building collapse?
There is always a possibility of the building collapse.
Mayor, any comment on the number of explosions that you've had responded to in the past year or so?
We've had 3 different incidents. Each one has been different. Obviously, I'll let the commissioner and the chief speak to the particulars, but 3 very distinct incidents.
Yeah, if you go back to Park Avenue, it was an infrastructure issue. If we go to Second Avenue, it was a piping improper usage in the basement, and here we have something that occurred within an apartment. So the only common thread, of course, is the natural gas and the dangers of natural gas and explosion.
And we also had the high school explosion up in the Bronx.
Correct.
That was where also gas, but that was people working on the gas piping too.
That was people, and that was obviously, let me just finish that. Hold on one second. That was people working on the gas line in the Bronx and obviously, unfortunately, doing it in an inappropriate manner. But I want to take this juncture to say something important. One thing, and I'll let the commissioner and the chief speak to this. After the situation in East Harlem, we emphasized to people in New York City, if you smell gas, call 911. We know in too many cases people haven't done that in the past. We know tragically in the incident in East Harlem that people in fact did smell gas and didn't make the phone call. And had they made the phone call, we might have been able to save lives. So I want to emphasize, there's something we can get out to people that really will save lives. Anytime you smell gas, don't hesitate, call 911, better safe than sorry, and FDNY can come and check on the situation and make sure people are safe.
Did someone call again in this case?
To the best of our knowledge, no.
A couple more guys.
There was no reports of an odor of gas here. This year alone, we've responded to 18,000 more calls than the previous year for odors of gas. But today, the first call we received was there was an explosion.
Was the landlord or building owner aware that there was going to be a stove exchange? Was there a process behind that?
It was approved. Yeah, it was not a we weren't stealing the stove here. It was
Does the stove
the
exchange
tenant
require
stove.
any particular type of permit, a special?
It does not. Does not.
Would Con Ed be required to turn off the gas or anything like that?
No, it's done in the apartment.
That last one, guys.
Governor Cuomo has called for a state investigation of the gas issues. Your reaction to that?
Well, we, again, our responsibility with both the FDNY and where necessary NYPD is to conduct a full investigation. We do that in each and every situation. I have absolute faith in the ability of the FDNY and the NYPD to get down to the bottom of the situation. We're always willing to work with other agencies as well in collaboration. We've done that in the past. But the facts are going to be determined by the FDNY and NYPD, and they're going to start later on this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.